This is the main street of Hughenden in North West Queensland, midway between Townsville and Mount Isa. Like many others in regional Australia, it's full of empty shop fronts and for sale signs. The pastoral industry has been the mainstay for the Flinders Shire for decades, but now it needs more. Mayor Kate Peddle wants to see the Shire of 7,000 people functional and relevant to attract new residents.
We understand the need for local governments to harness opportunity. We've evolved, I think, from the past of having, responsibility over roads, rates and rubbish, which is super important to our community that we continue to deliver services. It's the primary reason why, people will stay here.
Landline visited on the weekend of the Hughenden show. But it wasn't the only show in town.
On behalf of the Hughenden Society, I warmly welcome you to...
A Renewables forum was timed to coincide to bring together the local community, agricultural and industry leaders and developers in an informal way to help build connections and get down to the hard work of answering questions about renewable developments.
It is fundamentally about survival.
Kate Peddle says the council has a proactive stance on development to help the region reach its full potential, and that means considering all options.
One thing that I really noticed is that the conversation has shifted from, an ideological viewpoint of your renewables or your fossil fuel to all of these people are in the same room. They're talking about the same things, the same challenges, and how every single one of them can bring a solution to the table.
Hughenden is no stranger to renewables. Over 15 years ago, Wind Lab put the idea of renewable energy to the small town of Hughenden. Since then, they've created a world first. Tony, we're in the solar field. What was here before?
So this was all grazing land, so cattle grazing.
The solar panels may look unproductive on an overcast day, but Tony Ward, WindLab's Director of Land, says it's not an issue.
The amazing thing about KEP, or Kennedy Energy Park, where we're here at the moment, is that it was a world first hybrid renewable facility ever built, which we're really proud of.
Why is that?
Because we have the solar, we have the wind, and we have battery storage. So it's fantastic. It's such a site that we're so proud of. And it's actually ranked in the top 3 producers on the natural electricity market, which is amazing.
The Kennedy Energy Park sits on the Rogers family's 7,000 hectare property. Bill Rogers' parents who own the place don't run cattle anymore, but he and wife Jane, who own the neighbouring property, are welcome to run theirs here. They graze among the turbines and batteries.
They prefer to have the livestock in and keeping the grass down and it wasn't so. We kept them out during construction.
WindLab started talking to the owners about the project a decade and a half ago.
We started early with our engagement with the landholder, and we've actually leased this area. So that allows us to have exclusive use of it.
The build was completed at the start of 2024.
It was pretty quick, yeah. But it was a novelty when they first went up to see, to come up here and see turbines on the horizon. But since the years have gone by, you don't notice them anymore. They're just part of the landscape now. You really don't see them.
The energy park isn't the only big infrastructure build in Hughenden. It's also the starting point for the Queensland Government's Copper String project, an 840-kilometre electricity transmission line from Townsville to the mining centre of Mount Isa, described as the biggest energy project in North Queensland's history. Joseph O'Brien is one of the project's co-founders.
I've always said copper string is the boring part of the whole project. It's just a power line. It's everything that hangs off it, from our mining and mineral processing in the northwest to the clean energy developments that are charging forward in the greater Hughenden area.
A custom-built camp for over 550 workers has already been built a few k's from town. And in June, the state government announced another $2.4 billion to prioritise work on the line linking Townsville to Hughenden. What specific long-term benefit can residents of towns like Hughenden realistically expect from copper string infrastructure?
The delivery phase of a project like Copper String does bring a lot of upgrades. You need to reinforce water supply infrastructure, you need to expand airports and things like that often. It also brings with it an enormous telecommunications capability, which all transmission lines in Australia have. So you do have a natural sustaining and legacy infrastructure profile that should benefit towns like Hughenden an awful lot.
Bill and Jane Rogers know the sort of pressure the construction of the Kennedy Energy Park put on the community.
During construction, it certainly filled up the town with people. Probably put a bit of pressure on the town. I think that's something that, you know, these companies probably do need to consider.
To deliver an asset like this, it really does take a team. So really proud of everything that's been done. The Flinders Shire and the team has welcomed us from day one.
Flinders Mayor Kate Peddle says local government can't manage all of that pressure on its own.
We often say the former government committed to a power line, whereas this government has a much harder task to commit to the economic corridor as a whole, and that starts with protecting the communities. For instance, Flinders Shire, only 11% of our total revenue comes from rates. I currently have a $35 million bill to fix sewage and water. They're important conversations to have, because if we can support and help these larger issues and solutions put on the table from state and federal government, then we need that support to help them do it.
WinLab has been through the process of managing the impact of a big project and knows the importance of partnerships with the council, community and landholders.
We can't be successful as a business in this area without their support. So it's really important to listen, not come in and tell a community what to expect, but actually listen to what their wants and needs are. Do they want jobs? Do they want training? You know, do they want improvement of infrastructure? You know, what is it that they want? So that when we're working within this community, we can make sure that we're leaving that long-lasting impact and also those benefits for the community as well.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks very much for having me. It's a real pleasure to be here in Hughenden.
The new Commissioner for Australian Energy Infrastructure and the former National Farmers Federation CEO, Tony Marr, was in town for the forum.
I really want to push transparency and best practice.
He says the complex nature of infrastructure in regional communities is high on the Commission's agenda. So when you talk about infrastructure, how will that benefit or hinder regional towns?
Well, it can definitely benefit in terms of, the community benefit, the community sharing, the vibrancy of communities. That's the hope. But it can certainly disrupt communities, and it can certainly cause concern and grief and division in the community. And that's something that I'm committed to trying to get everyone, all stakeholders, and it is everyone's job, the energy industry, state governments, local governments and federal governments, to collaborate.
He says a lack of consultation from renewable developers in the past has caused mistrust in communities. Unanswered questions about the how, when and why of energy transition, the impact on land values, taxes, insurance and the big one, end-of-life decommissioning of turbines and solar panels have caused deep tensions and uncertainty.
There are some good things happening in the industry. We shouldn't forget about that, but there's clearly some areas where it's not going well, and I think we can all do better to improve that.
My perspective is always from the landholder's point of view.
Shane McCarthy is the General President of AgForce, representing Queensland producers. He's also a Flinders Shire councillor. He says there are positives to renewables, which bring not only new infrastructure, but a guaranteed source of income for farmers hosting them on their land.
I don't think you'll ever drought-proof or flood-proof anything, but it goes a long way, taking some primary producers from, borderline to actually prospering.
But there are plenty of questions to be answered first.
End of life. Have I got the right deal? Am I talking to the right solicitor? One that came up today with the wind towers in there. Can I use a helicopter to muster that paddock? Is there a no-fly zone around those turbines? If the turbine has to be turned off to be able to muster with the helicopter, who pays?
So we're paying $16.60 for our gas, which produces our electricity, and our competitors are paying $5. How much do we go to more?
Plenty of other questions prompted discussion at the forum.
I just can't work out who drew the line on the map, because you should have followed the bitumen.
For Mayor Kate Peddle, being inside the room when big decisions are made is critical to the region's future.
We need strong partnerships with all the developers, renewable or not, whoever comes to these shires out west. We need a seat at the table and we need government to be there as well.
You're a small town, a small shire, doing mighty things. Are you showing other shires how it's done, other towns how it's done?
No, I don't think so. Our corridor punches well above its weight. And if you have the great privilege of meeting my colleagues, the mayors to the west and east of me, they're just as passionate as me. We often say this, we're trying to drink champagne on a beer budget. And we always are very creative about how we try and find solutions to the problems that we have.
Great to see you here. Very grateful to have people still very much involved in these community events. It helps keep the community like Hughenden alive.
Having the local show and the forum on at the same time was no coincidence. It gave the locals and industry heads a chance to come together and show each other what they're really made of.
Don't hurt yourself, mate. We need you for later. The local favourite from Flinders Shire Council, our Madam Mayor.
Oh, there we go.
And for the Mayor, there's no doubting her ability to crack the whip when she needs to.
Whoa, woman.
And the winner is the local Mayor, Kate Paddle.